I listened to Alex Jones once with my son in New York City. We were up there for a little vacation, and I want to build a bridge with my kids. And my son Carl is my radical youth in my family, and so he said, "Dad, did you hear this Joe Rogan interview with Alex Jones?" And so
Oh,
I
yeah.
sat down in New York, listened to it. I was intrigued with it because I haven't listened to Joe Rogan, but Joe's good. Obviously, he's got a million times more people listening to him than I got. And Alex Jones is such a character, but Alex postulated the theory that it may make sense that what we are experiencing now is almost so bizarre with Dennis Rodman being the back door into North Korea so that Trump could meet with the President Kim Jong Un and actually keep a nuclear standoff from happening with the West, and it's coming through. And then he's fighting off Stormy Daniels is the name of the person. Then we have the Rush. He said the stories are so bizarre. It seems like we're part of a simulated game, and that these new elements are being dropped into it. And I have to tell you, ever since he put that into my head, that there's kind of a simulation, because in a sense, spiritually, there's a warfare between darkness and light, and the satanic and the angelic, and God himself is the ultimate chess master, and Satan has got this last era of history called the last days. If you read
But you're not saying we live in a simulation.
I'm saying
I'm
since
thinking,
I
you
know
gotta watch out here.
I'm not saying we are, obviously.
You brought up the Q people, and you know how the Q people are.
I'm just saying, if there is an insidious and a strange, almost predictable irony to the in-your-face developments of what happens in history that looks like a script from a movie.
I just see the headline on Right Wing Watch. Dallas evangelist says we're living in a simulation.
I am not
listening
saying that.
to Alex Jones says we live in a simulation.
Although I have to say, Right Wing Watch does fit the narrative. They're like the agents in in the Matrix.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson.
They kind of keep populating and showing up, and they're trying to.
There's a new Matrix movie coming out. Did you know that?
Let me get this broadcast back in focus.
Hey, you're the one going. You went off over in the simulation. You want to talk about the metaverse too? Let's go.
Well, the metaverse. Hey, the metaverse people. Are you paying attention to this Zuckerberg? It's Web 3.0. You would have been proud of me, Mercedes. Somebody recently who was like a big, tech guy, but not a tech guy, but an investor guy. I was explaining what the metaverse is.
Were you?
And I got it basically off of your explanation to me. And I sure hope I said it right. But I told him it's like Web 3.0. I said, imagine going into a simulated world where you actually have real estate. I mean, and I was exhorting that let's not always be down on everything.
Yeah.
Because, as you pointed out, if we can get into the Wild West, if we can get into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, if we can get into the next iteration of the metaverse, we can they got people that they got preachers up there. They got people creating artificial worlds you can come to. Like I said, imagine the Sea of Galilee.
Yeah.
And there you are, and you have the gospel presented, and people could go visit it in this fantasy world.
That happens. Like in Fortnite right now, there's a guy who has a Fortnite church, and all these little avatars come in, and they look like little warriors, and like they're orcs, but they're all in this room, and the guy's like, and Jesus said, and it's like, it's just the craziest thing. But
okay,
so
let me wrap up my thought that I had a moment ago.
Yep.
They've ditched the Greek alphabet for all future COVID variants because this one was the new variant, the NU, the new variant. The next one, which I say would hit around midterms, would be the Xi variant, technically pronounced Chi by Greek, but embarrassingly XI for everyone in print. And so they decided to get this was a calculus to avoid political embarrassment. The World Health Organization ditched anything that would make it look like China. But that's what I'm saying. If this had gone its course, I reminded me of Alex Jones. You couldn't. It's so weird. You almost couldn't believe it, except it's true.
Yep.
So I'm exiting that because I think that I prefer the belief system of the PhD. We might find vast immunity coming out. Why don't we believe for something good for a change? What happens if this thing spreads and it has very low impact? But that a lot of people pick it up like you have these colds perpetually lately.
I do not have colds perpetually.
Come on,
I rebuke that in the name of Jesus.
You've been concerned.
Well, I've had just different things, but it's I don't receive that.
All right, well, I'm not trying to confess it into
I don't
existence.
like it.
I'm just saying that you've had challenges. But now, speaking of challenges, have you guys been following the news that no one's talking about? What's happening with Epstein?
He didn't kill himself.
Epstein. Well, Jeffrey Epstein, and then totally coincidental, but our TikTok sources pointed out to us a number of high-ranking CEOs and CFOs
Oh, wait. I'm going to put. Hold on. That was fact checked.
And was it proven false?
It was Twitter, but Walmart's person didn't step down, and the CFOs didn't step down. One of them announced that he was going. I just want to stop you before you.
Oh, well, thank you.
This is the job I have here. I need a button,
Well, wait a second. I do have a button here.
It's okay.
I want to point out, where did I first get that TikTok?
You didn't send. Not from me.
From you.
No, I didn't send it to you. I'll hear other people.
During the break, I'm going to go in. I'm going to find this live prosecution on the air. All right, so there are. So let's retract that story. Yeah. We don't have a number of.
Well, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey stepped down at the beginning of the Maxwell. Then we had the school shooting.
He was like 10 years old when this was going on.
What?
The Lolita Express, they're going back down.
Oh, I thought you were going to cover the fact that when
this is the Clinton.
All right, I thought what the connection was when the Maxwell trial started, he stepped down on Monday. Then we had the school shooting the next day. So you haven't heard any of the coverage of the trial.
The shooting has nothing to do with my story. What I want to talk to you about is well, all right. Let's try this angle. There is enough serious damage that can come out of this trial that there might be a reason that you're seeing it buried. And I was saying, how come nobody's talking about this? Why is no one talking about this story? Now of course, it's coming out, but there's a lot of people. The reason why the story was never covered originally, they had the Jeffrey Epstein story, and it was Project Veritas, that exposed the fact that the news media had already had extensive data on this story, but that they weren't allowed to break the story because they were getting pressure from Buckingham Palace and Prince Andrew and the royals that there would be serious backlash and legal consequences to the slander that would be implied by that. So the story got corporately shut down by the American media. If it had been Donald Trump, it would have been they made stuff up on him. But so what's weird about this is Comey's daughter is involved with the prosecution of the case. It ought to, once again, to Alex Jones' theory. Comey and the corrupt FBI, the same FBI that raided the Project Veritas, the same FBI that raided Roger Stone's house and tipped off CNN, the same FBI that we can't find out how many of their unindicted co-conspirators were actually involved with stirring up January 6th that we're never going to find out about because they can't talk about it, which is FBI agents involved with militias that they were kind of cultivating in order to create an incident. Well, the FBI's Comey's daughter is going to make sure that the case is guided on the right rails and avoids the wrong subjects.
That's crazy.
Is that the elite taking care of themselves? Is that not everything that Alex is talking about? Hey, if you haven't seen me around as much on the platform recently, it's because all the explosive, incendiary things that I want to say, the Lance Rants, are on the podcast. Go to lancewallnau.com/podcast and hear the unbridled utterance of a Lance Rant.